Jordan. A spectacular move.
Be clear.
Bring it home, Kobe, baby. Oh, he came up behind him like a librarian. He never heard him.
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen.
G'day again. Welcome back to the Casual Fan Experience YouTube channel. We're back for what will be our fourth video, I believe, which is exciting. We're
pumping through.
Yeah, piling them on at the moment with the NBA Finals. It's pretty easy content. So obviously got Brendo here with me. I'm Pat, and we've got Luke joining us today. It was just me and Brendo before, but we've got Luke here this time. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good as. Just having fun after the long weekend. Sat down,
Absolutely.
Watched the footy, went to a couple of parties, so it was all right.
Beautiful.
Good to have you back, mate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks.
Part of the reason you missed the last one, so easy to
I'm here. Unfortunately, Tommy couldn't make it for this one, but it's all right. I've stuck it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
All good.
Well, look, you missed the last one, so thoughts on the series so far, and particularly, obviously, Game 4 that was just played.
Yeah, well, Game 4 was easily a must win for the Warriors. We know that, like, everyone knew that if Warriors went down 3-1, I mean, there's still a chance they come back, but I don't think Warriors have beaten Celtics 3 times in a row. If they did go down 3-1, so I felt like it was a must win game for the Warriors, and at the end of the day, it was pretty much just a Steph Curry masterclass. Like, put up 43 points, was big in the second half and fourth quarter, which I probably don't need to slander Curry as much because Tom's not here, but something we don't often see. It's something we haven't seen in the finals, and was probably one of his best finals performances of his career. And yeah, he was pretty much a carry job from Curry, especially on offensive end. And like, you had guys like, I think Wiggins and Paul had a little bit of offensive show, but Klay Thompson was pretty subpar once again. Draymond Green
turned it on late though.
He did turn it up late. And same with Draymond Green. I thought Draymond Green was horrible for the first 3.5 quarters or 3 quarters. I thought he was almost a negative for that game, I think. But you had a few guys, like obviously Curry was carrying the load offensively. And I want to give a big shout out to Wiggins, who I've slandered plenty on this podcast. Because I don't think he deserved to be an all-star starter, but he is looking like the second best player on potentially a championship team this series. He's playing really well. He's guaranteed to get his 17 or so points, but in Game 4, he ended up grabbing, I think, 16 rebounds, and that's something that they were completely lacking. Like, Game 3, they got demolished on the boards, and Andrew Wiggins stepped up huge in that department, like offensive and defensive boards. So I thought that was super important in Game 4.
Yeah, and that was something we specifically spoke about in the last video was rebounding and where they were going to resolve that. And obviously one of the points we brought up was obviously giving Looney a few more minutes, and whilst he didn't start this game, he played 12 more minutes the game before, so he grabbed 11 boards in that time as well himself. So that was a big change, looked impactful, and
was massive, like boxing out,
of course.
Yeah. I think he grabbed 4 offensive boards or something. As well.
Had a pretty big game. And you're right, Luke, he was absolutely a must-win for the Warriors. I think the current iteration of the Warriors aren't built to come back from 3-1 down. So it was absolutely must-win. As I said, carry job from Steph. A little bit of help along the way here and there, but largely the Steph show. And so far, looking the goods when it comes to being a one option on the team, championship winning team. But time will tell. Neither team is yet to lose back-to-back games in the playoffs, so we'll see if that trend continues. Going into Game 5, Brendo, what's your thoughts, mate?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
The way the series going, you'd say Boston will win. They'll go back, review the tape, make the fixes they need to do it for one game, and then revert back to their old ways in Game 6. It seems to be the case.
You'll see Game 6 Clay come out as well, so that's a guaranteed win. Yeah.
It's it's a weird one. It's both teams have done really good jobs adjusting game in, game out. But it's interesting that it's kind of each time it's the same like the same thing they're readjusting. You know what I mean? It's like, as you said, they go back to their old ways. Like I felt the Celtics really just struggled at times with ball movement and hustle energy and stuff that they did so well in game 3. So they just they need to keep finding that spark.
Throwing those, and they did it against the Heat as well. I think they did it in game 2. Just some of those when they're in a double team, those lob passes to the corner that keep getting cut off. I think turnovers were pretty bad for both teams in the end. I think it was 15 or 16 each or something, roughly around there.
I mean, it's tough for the Celtics. Like you look at their sort of box score, and it's not too bad. Like, you know, Jason Tatum, 23, 11, 6. Jaylen Brown, 21, 6 and 2. Rob Williams had 12 boards. Marcus Smart had 18, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals. You got 16 off White off the bench. But like, it just kind of was just missing that punch. There wasn't someone who kind of took on the game in a big way, like we've seen in their wins. Like in both of their wins, we saw, particularly for me, Jaylen Brown. I mentioned it a couple of times, and I'm right on board with Jaylen Brown bandwagon, and we can. I'm happy to discuss why I think he should be the number 1 option, but at least scoring the ball anyway. But he got the sort of their run on in game 1, their comeback. He got that started in the 4th quarter. In game 3, he got them off to an absolutely lightning start, and big things for him there. And Jason Tatum looked good in stretches, but this might have been Jason Tatum's worst game of the series. I know he had a tough one in game 1, but he dished out 13 assists or something that day. So this might have been his worst game of the series, but still by no means a real stinker. So he can't really afford another one.
I think the other thing they did, Boston, on the defensive end was allow Draymond Green to dictate the offense a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Draymond only scored 2 points.
Yeah.
But only shot 1 from 7.
Yeah.
Which
classic Draymond stat.
Which for him is, if he's only, I'm happy with him only taking 7 shots.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing.
It's probably a good thing. Should he get more than one of them in? Probably, but the first 3 games he was taking double-figure attempts and getting 2 of them, sort of thing.
Well, interestingly as well. So he actually, at one point, I don't know if this is still the case, but he has had as many points in the final so far as fouls. So he's certainly hasn't been a real plus when it comes to scoring the ball anyway.
Yeah, it probably is, because he's still at 3. I think he's more now. But 9 boards and 8 assists as well, which they had managed to stop that influence in the previous 3 games to an extent. So if they can limit Draymond's assist numbers really to be about 4, I think they're in good stead. He brings players in so well.
And I think that comes down to... Oh, sorry, like you go, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, one thing I think about the Celtics, though, that I was, like, pretty concerned about is, like, their late game, I guess, just plays and things. Like, in I think the last, like, couple of minutes, I think they shot, like, they had, like, maybe 8 attempts, and I think 7 of them were 3s or something like that. And it was just like, they were just settling for jump shots. Like, no one was being aggressive. Like, it was just, 3-pointer after 3-pointer. And they were in this game right until, maybe with 1 or 2 minutes to go. So, or even less than that. So I was just a bit kind of almost like disappointed when I saw them just, I guess, settling for jump shots on almost every single possession down the stretch, which is, I guess you can credit Warriors defense, but I do feel like they weren't being aggressive enough, especially when it comes down to your guy, Jason Tatum.
Well, I think that's where, like, as I kind of mentioned before, I'm a pretty big believer in Jaylen Brown being probably the best scorer on that team. But that doesn't, to me, mean he's the best player. Like Jason Tatum, I think his role is, whilst to score absolutely to give you 25 points, but I think if he's getting less than 8 assists, he's not doing the best by his team. And I think that shows late in game when he gets the ball, and, like, all props to him. Like, he's not afraid at the moment. He's happy to take the shot, but I think he could probably take a leaf out of LeBron's book, where sometimes the better basketball players move. That's not to say he can't have his, he loves Kobe, and that's not to say he can't have his Mamba moment, but I think at least in that final 5 minutes, it's about making the right play. In the last 15, 30 seconds, absolutely, he's more than happy for him to take the shot. But when there's 5 minutes to go and it's about winning, like finishing the game, it's got to be right option, right time.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I think that shows sometimes.
Yeah, especially against the Warriors, who really don't have like amazing rim protection either. Like obviously, Draymond's a really good defender, but he's not like an elite rim protector. He's only 6'5". Like he's 3 or 4 inches shorter than Tatum is. So it's like I want to see Tatum be just more aggressive, like attacking the rim, because he's bigger than half the blokes out there. He's one of the biggest like people on the floor, and I feel like he can get to the rim with ease, and he's got plenty of moves once he gets there. So I feel like if he is a little bit more aggressive, because he's been shooting it well from 3 all series, but inside the arc he just has not been good. So I think he just needs to be a bit more aggressive, maybe a bit less mid range, and more around the rim.
Yeah, because like he's, as you said, a big body compared to a lot of the other guys out there at the time. Like worst case scenario, he's going to go to the line. He's an 87% shooter, so it's
exactly.
And we've seen how much the Warriors struggle once they start getting guys in foul trouble. So that's kind of the ideal situation, and realistically, that's. I mean, they often run a 5-out offense, especially when Rob Williams is on the floor. And if you're running a 5-out offense, the whole point of that isn't to necessarily jack up a bunch of threes, but it's to start your game inside and work your way back out.
Yeah.
And when you've got guys of the caliber of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, especially when it comes driving the ball and finishing, that's how it should be. It should be the first option should be to go to the rim, and the next option should be kick it out.
He did struggle the other day at the rim.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably part of it. They did struggle scoring in the paint.
Yeah.
And so they got out of the end, and they're going for the win instead of just jacking up threes.
Yeah.
Which really doesn't work when you've got a bloke like Steph Curry at the end that jacks up threes and nails them.
All props to Steph and those boys. Like Steph played an amazing game. He really did. It was probably for me his best finals game he's ever played. He controlled it from start to finish. He looked by far the best player out there, and he did exactly what he needed to do to close it late. As you said, Lee, we talk a lot of slander on Steph in this group, particularly because of Tom, and he's not here. So we'll give Steph his props now that Tommy isn't here. And he's played really well. And for me, obviously, and I think for everybody, he should be clear front runner for Finals MVP at the moment. Obviously needs to get the job done. But yeah, he's looking the goods at the moment. He looks like he's slowly getting, the other guys are slowly finding their form as well. Like whilst he said Klay Thompson didn't have a great game, it was better than his first couple. Wiggs, as you said, props to Wiggs. He's out there, probably the best defender on the team at the moment. Like I know Draymond's great, but Wiggs is probably their primary defender at the moment.
Guarding guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and doing a good job.
Playing big minutes, played 43 minutes last game, which is huge for him.
Yeah.
You'd expect him to not quite play as many next game, but yeah, he looked really good. And Jordan Poole's had a couple of moments. I know. I was laughing the other day that because obviously like the NBA said like it does live updates of the Finals MVP odds, and there's the game the other day that the Warriors won, and Jordan Poole hit a couple of deep threes, and all of a sudden was skyrocketing up the Finals MVP odds. Like, mate, he hasn't been good. It's very boring. A couple of deep threes.
Had his best game the other day, though.
Yes, he did.
Wrong way.
Yeah. I think as a collective, they had their best game. I think it was it wasn't quite the statement win I've been waiting for. I don't think any of the games have been overly convincing. Obviously, there was the blowout in game 2, but I didn't feel super like if I was the Celtics in that game, so I wouldn't have been worried.
No.
So it hasn't been. Neither team, I don't think, has really stamped their authority on this series yet.
No, and as I said before, I've got no idea how to tip it.
Yeah.
Going if it's a pattern, Celtics win.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if I'm going to tip, that's how I'm going to go.
Okay,
I'll stick with the pattern.
Yep.
I'll stick with the pattern.
Brendo got his first one wrong, obviously, yesterday.
I did.
Yeah.
Unlucky, but yeah. So Brendan's tipping the Celtics again. Who's their guy? Who's their game 5 guy?
I think it has to be Tatum.
Yeah, that's fair.
At both ends.
Yeah.
I don't care whether he only scores 15 points.
Yeah.
But if he gets 10 rebounds, 8 or 9 assists, and gets the guys involved, that's going to go a long way.
Yeah.
And lock down defensively as well.
Yeah.
He's capable of doing it. He's shown that.
Absolutely. I think you can see when Jason Tatum's struggling, like when the team is struggling, defense almost becomes an afterthought to complaining to the refs and different things. So you see sometimes he gets caught up, he gets a bit of contact, hits the deck. Instead of when he's playing well, that doesn't bother him. He gets up, he runs back, and he plays out defense. When they're struggling, he's up and he's complaining to the refs and spending too much time, doing that rather than getting back and locking up.
I mean, he's their best player.
Yeah.
Probably not their best scorer, but he's by far the best player.
Absolutely.
I think he needs to stand up for him.
I've tipped Warriors every single game this series so far, and that's pretty true again. I think the pattern breaks. I think back in Golden State. I mean, not that it's meant much so far home court, but I think maybe this game, as I said, may not have been a statement game from the Warriors, but I think it was a bit of a statement game from Steph, and I think Steph's decided it's about time he adds an extra bit of hardware to his trophy cabinet, and that might be Finals MVP. Though I'll never tell Tommy that. I think the Warriors will win it. I think Steph's going to probably have another great one, another 35 plus points. I think they're going to get good contributions again from Wiggs, and probably I think Clay's working his way into a little bit of form as well. So I think we might see a few more Clay shots drop, and I think we'll find Clay will become a little bit more disciplined as this series goes on, recognizing his current limitations with how much basketball he did miss. Because I think sometimes he still feels like he's the old Clay, and unfortunately at this stage anyway, he's not. I've got the Warriors. Again, I said from the beginning, I think all games are going to be good games. So it can go either way, but I do have the Warriors again.
Yeah, for me, it's every single game has been so tough to tip, and it's another tough one for me. And I think this game I'm going to tip Warriors just because of the home court advantage, because it's really the only thing I guess that is deciding. I don't know, like it's so even. I guess that's just one thing that I'm picking to decide them, because I know often your role players play better at home. So, and I know Draymond's often heaps better when the crowd's behind him and he's getting all pumped up and everything. So I think since Draymond was pretty poor in that game 4, I think he might really step up this game and help out Warriors in game 5.
Yep, beauty. All sounds pretty good to me. Okay.
Awesome.
That's good. I like it. Short and sweet tonight. There's no point dilly-dallying. We've got more content to create. So for those that are watching, I don't think I've said it for any of the previous videos, but like, comment, subscribe, and peace out. We'll see you next time.
See ya.